Welcome to Monday, November 6, 2023, your day weather podcast, being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's only daily newspaper. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com and subscribe to their daily digital email newsletter. We start off the week kind of where we left the weekend, with a mild flow of air coming off the Pacific Northwest coast. This mild flow of air is going to continue to keep temperatures well above average along and east of the divide, while we will see strong jet stream winds bring more rain and snow to the Pacific Northwest today and tonight and into early Tuesday. Washington, Oregon, parts of California, Idaho, parts of Montana, northern Wyoming going to see more showers, kind of like what we saw late last week and over the weekend, while elsewhere downsloping Chinook winds will keep it windy along and east of the divide at times, but keep temperatures warm. Now, we do see some of the Pacific Northwest weather get pushed into the central Rockies as we get into midweek. It's not going to result in anything major, but it's going to change things up a bit. We're going to see some snow in the Colorado mountains, southern Wyoming mountains, a few showers in the plains, and there will be a trend towards cooler weather developing during the second half of the week. Not cold, cooler than the mild weather that we had over the weekend and what we'll have today and tomorrow. So that'll be something that will likely continue into next weekend as well, as the weather pattern will start to show some changes, starting slowly at first. We hinted at this late last week that we're watching for a colder, more active pattern the second half of November in the West. And we're still thinking that. We'll show you here why. As the second half of November, the last half of the month through Thanksgiving week and into early December is likely going to turn colder. The satellite imagery this morning looks a lot like the satellite photos we showed you late last week. Low pressure here, you can see the swirl off the coast of Washington and Oregon, and then the streaking moisture that's coming inland, generally along a west to east jet stream flow coming on in. So that's going to pump more moisture into the Pacific coast, and what's left of it gets east of the divide. You get a lot of high level lenticular clouds that form along the Continental Divide and east of the divide. You can see that here in Colorado, parts of Montana and Wyoming, a lot of lenticular clouds. Some folks sent some great photos in over the weekend of those, and that'll continue here. And mild air just keeps getting pushed in. Great photos have come in from over the weekend. Lots of great things going on. Thanks, Tim, for saying the aurora came out over the weekend. We had a geomagnetic storm pop up. We had two CMEs work together. So the aurora did come out Saturday night and Sunday night. The storm is now subsiding, but we did get folks that were able to get out and see the aurora, especially with their digital cameras. We had some grapple, we had some rain and snow, and not necessarily hail, but we call grapple, or what you'd also be called snow pellets, associated with some of those showers over the weekend. And I talked about lenticulars. Great shot here from southern Colorado of those lenticular clouds. Great cloud shot here as you look up near Clark, near Cody, Wyoming over the weekend. The sun working with those clouds to produce those rays. Just a great weekend to watch the weather and watch the skies. And then another great shot of lenticular clouds along the Wind River Mountains. And we're going to see more of that over the next 2 or 3 days. And on the 500 millibar chart, you can see that. The system coming on in, this looks just like what we had last week, doesn't it? Strong jet stream winds coming into northern California and streaking across the Rockies. That's why you're going to get those lenticulars and windy along and east of the divide, and that is just driving moisture in. And there it is. You can see some pretty significant rains again along and west of the Cascades into the central and northern Sierra, even getting down into San Francisco, Oakland area. Some showers coming in as the jet stream getting stronger, wanting to come a little bit more south now this week. And you can see Yellowstone Park up into Montana, the Dakotas, kind of like what we saw late last week with showers up there along the boundary. Dry, mild conditions for a lot of the areas south of that black line. Now, as we go ahead and take a look at what happens midweek, some of that weather that's here on the West Coast gets pushed in. Now, it's not going to maintain itself into a terribly strong system, but cooler, moist air does get pushed in. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, cooler air gets over the divide, and we're going to start to see temperatures drop off. And there is going to be, not a lot, but a little bit of moisture. So this moisture right here is parted with that trough. So you're going to see snow in the Colorado high country, some showers, not many, but a few showers across the lower elevations. Moisture gets drawn up out of Mexico for some wet weather in Texas and southern New Mexico here, streaking across Oklahoma. But there's a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a break here in the Pacific Northwest as that system moves through. And we're basically going to be in a transition phase to a bit of a different pattern. And this is what the snowfall looks like for the second wave coming through. Most of this falls late Tuesday, Wednesday, and into early Thursday. So you can see the Colorado high country, mountains in northwest Montana, Idaho, going to get a little snow out of that system. Then as we get to the weekend, we have another weak trough coming. This will produce mountain showers. This will be a minor system coming on through, but it will cool things off a bit, make things a bit more November-like. Look at all that cold, stormy weather in the Aleutians, and that is the signal of what's coming later. As we take a look at next Tuesday, so this is a week from tomorrow, we see high pressure building in behind it, and the movement of this cold, moist, energetic air mass comes off the Aleutians and more towards British Columbia. And this is where we start to see these changes that'll be happening towards the middle to the end of November. And we see this in that teleconnection called the Eastern Pacific Oscillation. We see a really strong signal here in the Canadian model. See how the blue line and the green lines go below zero? Basically below zero, not temperature-wise, but what it means is that the way to measure the oscillation goes into a strong negative phase. And that strong negative phase is centered right around the 14th, basically through the 19th and 20th, when we go into the negative phase right here. And this sometimes is a better signal than what we see on the model. So as long as we continue to see this strong negative oscillation showing up mid to late in the month, there's going to be a change to colder weather. We saw this, if you remember, we saw this with the late October cold outbreak. We saw it go strongly negative, then there was a lag time, and then the cold came. So that's what we're looking at long term. And the models do show that. The European model going out to the 17th and 18th is showing a cold, large trough coming into all of the western United States. So this is very far out, but something to keep an eye on. Have yourself a good Monday. We'll see you Tuesday.